Like, for me and my paycheck, that just won't work. So tonight I was like, hey, like, what do you think if we, like, when we moved together, if we did things by income and kind of split things up that way? Not that it would be, like, a major difference. And so when I brought up the idea to him, he was like, I thought we were doing 50-50. And I was like, I don't think I was super set on that, but, like,
A young woman is here asking us the question if she is unreasonable not wanting to go 50-50 with her boyfriend. Let's talk about it. Hey, beautiful people, how you are doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome to my channel. How have you all been? Hope you guys are doing great. So this video is a video of a young lady who came online to talk about how she and her boyfriend, they are planning on moving in together, and they went on to the conversation of paying bills and all that. And the boyfriend is insisting that they should split the bills 50-50. But she wanted to talk about how the boyfriend earns way more than she does, and how she feels like this is not a realistic thing on her own part, and why she feels like they should not be paying the same amount in terms of bill because he earns more and he will be saving more. Why, if she does, it's almost like she's spending a lot of almost all her money on bills and all that. So, but this has also struck the conversation of what 50-50 is in a relationship. And I know we always have this 50-50 in a relationship in every market, but I feel like this is a very educative perspective on 50-50 in terms of equal bill or equal percentage. Anyway, guys, let's go hear this lady's story, people's reaction to it, and then we'll come back and talk more.
I need someone to tell me if I'm being selfish and stuck up or if I'm actually valid for what I'm thinking, so please give me some advice. My boyfriend and I are entertaining the thought of moving in together in April. That's something that we both really want. And we've had a couple conversations about what that will look like, and we had another conversation tonight about financials because that's like a very big aspect of this. And we've had one other conversations about this, and basically we were like, oh, maybe 50-50, and we kind of bounced that idea around. But that idea did never really sat right with me because I make way less than him, which is like totally fine. Like, I'm happy that he's getting his bag, but I like, if we did 50-50, I'd be put way more out than he would. But then I think he still expects everything else to be 50-50, and like, for me and my paycheck, that just won't work. So tonight I was like, hey, like, what do you think if we, like, when we moved together, if we did things by income and kind of split things up that way? Not that it would be like a major difference. And so when I brought up the idea to him, he was like, I thought we were doing 50-50. And I was like, I don't think I was super set on that, but like, I mean, it would make sense. It's like the first idea, like, yeah, when you move in together, everything you split evenly. But I think splitting things evenly can look different and not necessarily a straight line down the middle. Everything is 50-50. And so I kind of explained to him, like, my income is lower than yours, and like, me moving in with you is not like a money ploy. It's not to like, oh, I want to be financially dependent on you. I'm moving in with you. Like, you get to pay for everything. Like, that's not where I'm headed. I've been able to support myself on my own in my own apartment for like a year and a half now, and I've been very happy, and it's worked out very well, and I've been okay. But like, moving in with someone, I would hope that rent would be cheaper and not only like $200 cheaper. I'm a server, and while you can get your bag, it's like hard in this economy because everything's so fucking expensive. Anyways, and he like kind of gave me a weird look, and he was like, I would rather we just do 50-50. And I was like, I hope you understand that 50-50 isn't actually 50-50 like for us. Like, it still puts you at a much higher advantage. Like, I don't want this to sound selfish. And he was like, well, why do you want to move in with me? And like, is it like a money thing? And I was like, no, it's not a money thing. Like, I love you. Like, I want to see our compatibility. I want to grow with you. Like, I just feel like it would be fair to make things more like of an even playing field if we did it this way. And he was like, I'll think about it, but like, I don't really know if I like that. And while I can totally understand, like, that is totally valid, like, to want to do things 50-50, but our incomes are different, so it's not really 50-50. Like, one of us has put way more out than the other. And in my head, I'm not comfortable with that, and I expressed that to him. And I also told him that his feelings were totally valid and like not wanting to do that. However, I told him that makes me like, to me, it doesn't show a huge sense of like care, respect, and compromise. I know he cares about me, I know he loves me, and the thing is, we're working on marriage, and he is totally fine being a sole provider in the future. And I was like, what's the problem with practicing a little give and ebb like now? And he was like, well, we're just boyfriend and girlfriend. And I was like, so that was kind of like a, ooh, like, yeah, like, I understand that boyfriend, girlfriend's not engaged, it's not married, but you're still my partner, you're my person. So we'll come back to that when we come back to that. He asked me, he was like, what if situations were reversed? And I was like, I would absolutely do this for you. Also, to add on, he's been living rent-free for the last 2 years, getting a very substantial paycheck every month for the last 2 years. I know he has savings. I'm not asking him to dig into his savings. I'm not asking him to spend his whole life savings on us moving in together. But a little give, like, would be nice. So then it's more of like an even playing field for us. Is that selfish? Is it valid? Someone please tell me. Up that way. Not that it would be like a major difference. And so when I brought up the idea to him, he was like, I thought we were doing 50-50. And I was like, I don't think I was super set on that, but like, I mean, it would make sense. It's like the first idea, like, yeah, when you move in together, everything's you split evenly. But I think splitting things evenly can look different and not necessarily a straight line down the middle. Everything is 50-50. And so I kind of explained to him, like, my income is lower than yours, and, like, me moving in with you is not, like, a money ploy. It's not to, like,
being unreasonable at all. You should never have to put yourself in a bad position in order to take the next step in your relationship, and someone who loves you wouldn't want you to. Each individual couple has to determine what an equal partnership will look like for them, but most believe that 50-50 means equal effort instead of meaning an equal amount in dollars. It sounds like there's a pretty big salary discrepancy between you and your boyfriend, so not only would the 50-50 he's envisioning not be realistic for you, but it also wouldn't be equal at all. Think of it this way. If you're left with $0 in your bank account at the end of the month, just from bills alone, but he's left with $1,000, then you're not a couple doing 50-50, you're just two people acting like roommates and one of you can't afford the rent. It's not equal if your half of the rent is 80% of your income, but only 10% of his. So you're not wrong for asking for 50-50 to be 50% of what you're making instead of 50% of what you're paying. 50-50 is supposed to be a balance of everything. So you should also ask if he's going to expect you to do the majority of the cooking and cleaning. Because if he does, then he obviously only cares about 50-50 when it's for the benefit of his bank account and not for the benefit of the relationship. She goes on to say that he also asked if she only wants to move in with him for the money. And you should take that for the red flag that it is. Because if he's already questioning if you're a gold digger, then the relationship is always going to be about the gold. You shouldn't have to put yourself in debt in order to prove that you don't want someone else's money. You're young. But even if you weren't, there is nothing wrong with making sure that what you do while you're in the relationship won't hurt you if you decide to get out of it. If you're putting every dime into paying for an apartment you can't afford, then you're not able to maintain any savings. And that could lead to you feeling stuck in the event that you ever decide you want to leave the relationship. The situation that he's proposing would mean that you walk away in debt, but he would walk away with a savings account that he was only able to build because he had the benefit of you splitting the rent. But my real concern while watching this video was the way that this young woman was so obviously unsure of herself. And it brought me back to a time when I was too. Sometimes I feel like we don't really find our conviction as women until we age, and we make so many mistakes while we're trying to please the man that we're with. We sacrifice our morals, our principles, our boundaries, and we do things because we love the man even if we don't like the scenario. We usually know we're right if we're asking people to tell us if we're wrong. And that's why she's asking people to validate her, because she's not yet able to validate herself. Notice that this guy didn't suggest a cheaper apartment that they could both afford. He just told her what he was expecting and expected her to agree. And he has a right to want that, but you also have a right to walk away. She said that he's willing to be a sole provider in marriage, but I don't know why someone who's willing to be a sole provider then would be so opposed to being anything more than half of a provider now. So I'm going to tell you a secret that most will only learn with time. And that's that true partnership will always balance out in the end. There are going to be times when you're paying more of the bills, doing more of the work, and giving more of yourself emotionally. But a real partner will be ready to do the exact same thing for you tomorrow. No one's counting pennies when you both know that you're doing your best. And if he's counting them today, then he's definitely still going to be counting them tomorrow. So do what your heart feels is right, not what you feel you have to do in order to stay with him.
Is that selfish? Is it valid? Someone please tell me.
It is definitely not selfish. It's never selfish for you to advocate for yourself, especially when you're coming from a place of like, I'm just trying to speak on my behalf and get you to understand where I'm coming from so that we can meet in the middle. I think having a partner who doesn't want to be equitable in the relationship is kind of a red flag. And if he's talking about this idea of you guys getting married and then wanting to be the full-time provider for your family or your marriage while you stay home, it sounds to me like he just wants to be in control of your finances. Yeah. Right now, he doesn't want to have an equitable split between the two of you. He wants it to be 50-50 because you guys aren't married yet, while also hearing you tell him that 50-50 isn't really 50-50 based on your incomes. So what happens when he is the sole provider? What's going to happen to you?
Exactly.
Red flags. I think it makes perfect sense to not do a 50-50 split when your incomes are not equal to one another. I had this conversation like last year. Yeah, I make more money. It wouldn't be a 50-50 split if we were to move in with one another. We would have to sit down and figure out what our like fixed bills are and what percentage each of us should be, you know, throwing into the pot. Yeah, I think finances are the first like big conversation that you have as a couple. And I definitely think it's important to listen to them when they're telling you who they are, kind of a thing. You're not being unreasonable and you're not being selfish. And this whole idea of like, well, do you want to move in with me because of blah blah blah? Girl, you have your own apartment. You pay your bills. You make less money, but you do all of that on your own. So for someone who loves you and cares about you to be making you feel like you would be moving in with them because you get something out of it monetarily when you're paying your bills is icky behavior, especially from a man who makes more than you do and doesn't pay for rent currently. It sounds like you're trying to be fair and compromise, and he's just trying to get the best deal possible if he has to actually start paying rent, which is shitty. Because if you're planning on building a life together, then build a life together. Be partners in it. What would it matter if you pay less for rent than he does if it's all going into the same pot anyways, so to speak? Like, your labor counts for something, your presence counts for something. Like, I don't know. I think it's weird. I don't think you're being unreasonable. I think it's a little icky. And I don't think that you should move with him. You've had your own place for, you said, a year and a half. Keep that going.
So I reposted it. There's this video of this girl who's asking if she's wrong that she wants to move in with her partner. And they originally suggested doing 50-50, but when she thought about it a little bit more, it didn't really make any sense because he makes way more than she does, and she wouldn't be paying very much less than what she's paying right now to stay alone. And when she brought it up to him saying, hey, let's base it off income, not like, oh, you pay way more and I pay way less. Let's just base it off our income so we both benefit equally from moving in. And sure enough, here he goes with asking, oh, is it a financial thing? Are you trying to get money? It's like, no, I'm not trying to, take all your money or be inconsiderate, but it just doesn't really make sense to me. Here's the reason why it doesn't make sense to you. It's because you can sense that something is wrong, but the love you have for him is trying to ignore it. Because of how much you love him, even though your sixth sense is telling you, hey, red flags, do not proceed, do not pass go, don't do this, your love is telling you know what, let's just ignore that. So you're conflicted. So let me give you a perfect example. When I was with my ex, it turned from we each paid for our own stuff to I basically paid for everything because he felt like, he could do whatever he wanted. He is one of those men who ended up hating me, and he was also very verbally, all types of abusive, all that good stuff, right? Fast forward to me being with my husband. He didn't let me pay for nothing. I didn't have to ask to pay for nothing. There was no 50-50. I moved in with him. He paid for everything, even though, mind you, we were making the same amount of money when we moved in. We were making the same amount of money when we moved in together. So the problem is his love for you should fully understand, accept, and comprehend the fact that not only is what you're saying very logical, because I'm not going to assume he makes buttloads of money, but let's say he's just kind of getting by. His love for you should make complete sense that y'all should base what y'all pay off of income. But his red pill mentality and his need to want to save his riches from gold diggers is superseding his love for you. So take that as you will, okay?
They can't afford it, though. They can. She herself said it would be cheaper than where she's living right now. Yo, keep saying Shorty makes less than him. Like that matters. That does not matter. They're boyfriend and they are girlfriend. Let's talk about what she said out of her mouth in her video. He said he wants to be the sole provider whenever he gets married. He said that. She said that isn't even a question. What else did she say in her video? She said out of her mouth. Again, I'm not putting no words in her mouth. She said if they moved in together right now and split everything in half, she would be saving like $200, right? Compared to where she was living before. But then she goes on to say that it wouldn't actually be 50-50 and he would have an advantage because she makes less than him, right? Like they'll be moving into his current spot where he currently lives right now. But then also said in that same breath, it's not about money. So if it's not about money, what is this conversation's even for? Like I could understand if you'll be paying more than what you were paying at your old spot, but you'll be paying less. She simply just does not like that he will be saving more than her. And he already said he don't want to be providing financially in that sense unless he is married. And that's fair. That's okay. A woman could go on this app right now and say absolutely anything. They could say they don't even want to hug a man until they're married. And y'all would just clap it up. Yeah, you go, queen. But if a man says that he don't want to do this, this, and this for a girlfriend, then y'all mad. Then it's the issue. It's hypocritical and it's right there in your face. Like it's right there. And if you go look at the comments, they're all saying the same things. Acting like it wouldn't be cheaper for her as well. It's not his fault he make more money than her. It's not. At the end of the day, man or woman, you are allowed to say, hey, I'm not comfortable with that. You are allowed to do that.
Like, and we had another conversation tonight about financials because that's like a very big aspect of this. And we've had.
So the question was, is she selfish for not wanting to follow the exact definition of 50-50 in her relationship? And I would say no. And I can give a little dumbed down example to see the ridiculousness of exact 50-50 in relationships, especially one with a big income difference. In this example, we're just going to focus on rent. I know there's lots of bills people need to pay for, but just focusing on rent to make it super easy. Let's say I make $2,000 a month, but my boyfriend makes $1,000 a month, and our rent is $1,000. There's so many ways you could split that fairly and equitably. However, I don't think it's fair or equitable for me to ask that my boyfriend spends half of his monthly income just on rent. And that's just rent. There's so many other bills, a phone bill, electricity bill, groceries. That's just rent that he's spending half of his income on. That disparity is so unfair. At the end of the month, after splitting all of the bills, he might be left with $20 at the end of the month while I'm still left with a couple hundred. That is unfair. You do have to be a tiny bit selfish when you're in these situations. Because yes, build that relationship, build that partnership, and care about your partner. But also, what about me? I won't be able to buy the things I want and need if I'm spending all of my income to split 50-50 bills with my boyfriend. And of course, I'm not saying that you should go to your partner and be like, fuck, go shopping, so I don't want to pay the bills this month, you gotta pay them. I'm just saying, when it comes to replacing clothes and toiletries and everything, that costs money. And if I spent all of my money on rent and bills because you wanted to split it 50-50 with me, I'm fucked. I have holes in my shoes, but I can't replace them because I spent all my money trying to keep up with you. In situations where your partner makes so much more than you, yeah, they want to be equal and 50-50 so they don't feel like they're being taken advantage of, but they also need to think of you. They need to be like, my girlfriend has $50 at the end of the month because she's been trying to keep up with me. I should be keeping up with her. We need to live in her means, you know?
Interesting. Please go down in the comment section and share your thought about this 50-50 conversation again. Go down in the comment section and share your thought. But as always, please keep it respectful. Here on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a very respectful way. So go ahead, feel free, share your thought. Love to know what you guys think. So here's my own take on a 50-50. A lot of you guys know I've been in a long-term relationship / marriage for a long time. I feel like she's not being reasonable saying that they should not pay 50-50. And as a woman, especially as a woman that you want to move in with a man, which I personally, I will not subscribe that. But if you have to, I'll believe that when it comes to finance, generally, even when it comes to finance and all that, and you're joining your existence with somebody, and I know everybody now needs to survive some way and try to make life easier for both of us or for each other by living together, having roommates and all that. And I feel like when it comes to this relationship or partnership and all that, I feel like it should be in the form of percentage. In terms of the actual amount, that should not be it. Everybody should bring a certain percentage of their income as rent, every percentage of their, just like if the boyfriend wants to be fair, because I believe that times like this, let's be fair here, is mark it up in terms of, okay, he's paying 25% of his salary on rent, so she's going to bring 25% of our own. Would that make up the rent for the month? And then question if that will make up the rent. For me, that is how it should be, especially for a partner. And I believe that when you have a partner, you're in the form of a relationship, both of your interests should be very important to each other, not just one side. Both people's interests should be important. Look out and say, okay, how does this serve you? How is it going to make life? Even when it comes to, oh, let's save it, including as married couple. A lot of the times you see married couple, they'll say, oh, they want to save, and they'll say, okay, oh, for example, they'll say, oh, they will save 50,000 naira. The wife will bring 50,000 naira, the man will bring 50,000. And the man makes way more than the woman. That is not a realistic point of view. It should be 20, it should be certain amount of the percentage, 5, 20, 25%, 30%, 50% of it, and then that's it. And I know somebody will say, oh, when it comes to the house chores, do they do this? Is the essence of living as an adult together. For me, it's and the essence of living as an adult together, and your partner should be able to make life a lot easier for you, especially the fact that both of you are living together. Same thing for you too. You should be able to make your partner's life a lot easier for you, especially the fact you're living together. That is the essence of cohabitating together, in my own opinion. That is it. But if being with your partner is going to stress you out even more, you could as well keep your apartment by yourself and live by yourself. I would suggest she stays in her apartment, don't move in. They should continue doing it from different apartment. He should pay his bill, she pays her bill, and there's no conflict. A lot of the times when it comes to relationship, even including marriage, people don't talk about how finance, money cause a lot of disagreement that runs deep in relationship and marriage. And sometimes it's just better to just avoid it by not mixing your finance together. Just everybody do your thing. Go take care of yourself. I take care of myself, or both adults, especially when we are in a relationship. Take care of yourself. I take care of myself. If you want to do something nice for me, fine. If I want to do something nice for you, fine. But nobody's coming like, oh, I'm spending a lot of my money on this. Everybody stay in the life that you can afford. Stay in the life that is on your what is it called, your tax bracket and all that. So yeah, I don't think she's being unreasonable, but my advice for her is that you already have an apartment that you've been able to secure and keep for over a year. Renew your lease and continue living your best life, and let him renew his own lease, and both of you can be doing it like that till he really wants you. Because I feel like that's also another thing. Because if he really wants her to move in, or he wants them to move in, he will be doing everything possible to make her life a lot easier to move in, not try to complicate it. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, guys, you guys let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comment section. Go ahead, feel free, share your thought. Love to know what you guys think, but please keep it respectful. Share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go ahead, feel free, share your thought. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push up my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys in my next video. Deuces.